Good evening and shalom, everyone. I am your host, Ezpeleta-Lucas, once again. Welcome to another edition of Crossing Over, a show for women by women, brought to you by NIUC TV. Today, I have our lovely Patricia Hawes, my co-host. Hi, Patricia.
Shalom. Hello, everyone. It is just so amazing to be back and do another episode of Crossing Over on our special edition homeschool series. So I'm excited. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So I am ready to dive in and explore and see what God has for us.
Amen. Yes, today, guys, we are going to be dealing with special needs. And really, like Patricia said, it's just very near and dear to my heart also. And so I can't wait to share all of this information with you guys. And I can't wait to be able to really share all of the knowledge that Patricia has also. So I'm so excited. First, our announcements. Let's just, guys, if this video is blessing you in any way, please press the like button and subscribe, please, 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 to NIUC TV. Congratulations. We hit 100,000 subscribers yesterday. Woohoo! And that was just such an awesome achievement. And we're just so thankful to the Father. Thank you so much, guys, for always supporting us. And so, guys, I want to remind everyone that we have an amazing website. Please, you could always go to nowuctv.org, where you can find most of this content. You can find a fellowship finder. I know that we have Yeshua wear on there. That is amazing. They have our Sukkot shirts are on there. And also we have an amazing chat. And I want to say hi to all our moderators. And we, of course, have our moderators on YouTube also. And also we have a NIUC TV fellowship page that is amazing, wonderful fellowship on there. We also have a NIUC TV Sukkot gathering coming up, guys, September 24th through October 2nd. If you would like information on the NIUC TV gathering for Sukkot, you can go to Sukkot2018.org. or our Facebook page. We also have a Facebook page dedicated for our Sukkot gathering, and our email. And our email is crossingover8@gmail.com. And of course, there's also Take on the World conference coming up August 24th through the 26th. And that's in Vermillion, Ohio. And I'm hoping maybe if the Father provides, me and the kids are hoping to get there. So keep that in prayer. Maybe I can get to meet a lot of you guys. So that is it for now, our announcements. And now we can begin the show. I'm so excited. Oh, Patty, okay, so share a little bit with us about your background and why this show is so dear to your heart, this particular topic.
Okay, well, I am a speech pathologist by trade, and I've been a speech pathologist for well over 25 years. And the population that I worked with primarily were the special needs population. So I worked with adults with intellectual disabilities and children with intellectual disabilities, generally in the severe to profound range of disability. And so there's just the full plethora, the full range, autism, anywhere from moderate to severe profound. I worked with individuals with Down syndrome, just a variety of congenital disorders, but also acute acquired brain injury. So I've worked with adults with acquired brain injury that, previously functioned normally until the brain injury occurred. So neurological and intellectual disabilities are my wheelhouse. Like that is my specialty. Augmentative communication and swallowing disorders. That's what I've spent, 25 plus years doing. So I really enjoy, I feel like the Father made me to work with individuals with special needs, because it is absolutely my passion. I love working within. That's where I'm most comfortable, is when I see an individual out, like I'm drawn to individuals with special needs. They're just so very special and near and dear to my heart. So it is, the Father made me to serve in that way. So he's also given me just skill and knowledge and experience. And so I'm excited to share and just to be on this particular episode. I love every episode that we've done, but this one is my niche. So
well, I am so excited and so blessed to be on this show with you. I do want to say that the outline that I used came from homeschoolingtorah.com, and Elliot shared a lot of the information, and she has an amazing testimony, guys. At the end of the PowerPoint presentation, I posted not only the YouTube link and a lot of the information from homeschoolingtorah.com, because it was an amazing, I mean, of course I added here and there and I did a lot of the research, but the outline came from homeschoolingtorah.com, and I just want to give them credit, and they're just so amazing, Patty. They're just so willing to help always, guys. And so thank you so much. And we have a lot to cover, so if you're ready, guys, we can start. I can screen share and we can get it going. Is that good?
That works.
All right.
Absolutely. So I'll click your screen, and you're going to screen share, correct?
I will screen share. Let me get that going. Now, I hope that, do you see the PowerPoint presentation coming up, Patty?
Yes, I do.
Okay, wonderful. Now, hopefully it stays like this, where it's the whole screen. It did on Sunday. Father, we just pray and that it stays that way. Okay, great. So we are going to be exploring all of these different aspects of special needs, guys. And I love the way that this outline that was titled. I love that not only is it special education, but it's specialized education. Because really, the wonderful thing about homeschooling is that whatever the need of your child is and whatever the circumstances is, the Father has given us the abilities as mom and dads to be able to deal with it. And so we're going to be discussing not only ADD, ADHD, anxiety, different aspects of autism, Tourette syndrome, all of these different learning problems that may be occurring in your home. And so I'm just so blessed to be able to really explore all of this with you guys. I wanted to really quick share that this particular show was a blessing and is a blessing to me. I can't wait to share to hear what Patricia has to say, because my 9-year-old daughter, well, now she's 10. She just turned 10. My 10-year-old daughter has been diagnosed with a little bit of a mild case of dyslexia, which I'll tell you, we've only known for about 3 months. And when I started homeschooling her, I had some ideas, because for a long time she would invert her words, and at school and her letters, they kept telling me, no, just give it more time, it'll fix itself. But then it just got worse and worse, and her reading abilities were just really heartbreaking. And so when we decided, okay, we're gonna homeschool, I really have to give this testimony. For the first year, what I really did was just concentrate on building her self-confidence. And I didn't, stress out that she was almost 10 years old and she was having all of these difficulties. I relied a lot of my mentors, which that's very important, guys. Find mentors. And really just what I did is that I put it in the hands of the Father, and I just build her up, tried building her confidence up. And I can tell you what an amazing difference it has made. And now, through different aspects of learning and really just figuring out what works for her, I can't tell you in the last 2 months, guys, what an amazing difference there has been. And so, you know what? I'm a testimony that what you're going to see here and what you're going to learn and hear, guys, it works. And so if you want to chime in, Patty, you're good. If not, I'm moving on.
You keep going.
Okay, great. Guys, we are experts. I know that in today's society, we many times are made to feel that you have to go out there to find, what's wrong and I'm not taking away from, any of the experts out there, but I'm going to tell you, through my experience, you have to be confident in the fact that you are your child's perfect match. You are that mom or that dad that they need to be able to overcome all of these things. And so no one is better equipped to help your child or help a child than his parent. And again, I love the fact that special education is not that it's special, it's just specialized education for your child.
Excuse me, Vicki.
Yes, go ahead.
It's not on the slide that you're on. So if you want to go ahead and just click on, it's not in the full screen mode. There.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll just keep it at that. We'll just keep it at that. That's no problem.
Okay.
And so, yes, very interesting. Many of the diagnosed quote unquote problems that are diagnosed, really, it's just the fact that we as parents or teachers out there, in the public school system, they don't know your child's individual learning style, which that's kind of what we talked about, not last show, but the show before, where we spoke about different curriculums that there are out there. It's about finding your child's learning style. And again, it's really teaching your child and using the child's learning pace. I have really had to work on that. I was just sharing with Patty before we came on how, we came back from a 4-week little break that we had, and my 6-year-old son came back and he didn't know he had forgot the alphabet, couldn't read. I mean, and he was at a point that he was basically reading, and she was telling me, no, it's okay. They just need to get right back on it and remember. And I was like, oh, I feel so frustrated. But again, it's just, understanding the ages and the capacity of their mind. And so a lot of these, diagnoses and problems, guys, are really not problems. They're just the pace of what your child learns. And so, again, that's the beauty of homeschool, right? We can just take our time and think to ourselves, okay, guess what? We have 10 years. We have 9 more years to really get this done. And so, very important. So when I got the diagnosis from a professional, a therapist, which again, I had my suspicions all along, and I know Patty and I had talked a lot about it, that Olivia, there was something that just wasn't clicking. For instance, she couldn't write the days of the week. She had this amazing ability and of, just memorizing and knowing all of these facts about hippos and animals and all of these amazing things, but she couldn't write the days of the week. And we had written them literally, guys, I don't want to lie, like 500 times. And yet she could not get it. She could, and I understood that there was something going on. And so fear started coming in. And I was like, Father, I'm going to go with my gut instinct and I'm going to go and get her tested. Well, yes, it confirmed what my suspicions were. And so, I had to come back from that quote unquote diagnosis and really start understanding what it is that would help my daughter. And so this is why I put these memes here, because again, we are told through the scriptures that, Yahweh's got it. He has redeemed us through his son, and we are called by his name. And so guys, just remember, I remind you that you're not alone, and the Father has given us everything that we need to not only train up our children, but really deal with these situations that we have. And I in no way want to minimize what any of you are going through, but just know that the Father's got it, okay? And so here we go. I loved this. So yes, it's okay to ask for help. A lot of times you'll feel something as a mom, or you'll start getting a little thing in the back of your mind, which usually it's the Holy Spirit telling you, no, something's going on. And I can tell you, first things first, we always have to stay in prayer, ask the Father, send me the information. Father, give me confirmation, tell me what is going on. And of course, not only focus on scripture, but also understand that we are not alone, okay? It's okay to ask for help. Look for mentors. There's many resources out there. Yes, if you need to go to a neurologist, go to a neurologist, guys. Therapy, there's a lot of amazing therapy, which I'm sure Patty will chime in here and tell us, what amazing things there are out there. Because, when Olivia was diagnosed with the dyslexia, I was like, do I need to put her back in school? And amazingly enough, secular therapists told me, no. Actually, the best thing that could have happened to her is that she is being homeschooled. You are going to, first, she will get labeled in a public school system. And then second, it will take her a lot longer to overcome a lot of these issues, because there is no way to specialize things for her the way that she needs them. And then, of course, there's family and friends. And above all, for me, what has not only empowered me, besides prayer and of course, trusting in the Father and scripture, is educating myself. I went and I saw every YouTube video that I could read. I bought myself a book that I'm reading on dyslexia. I'm understanding that, for instance, in dyslexia, you don't learn by memorizing. That's not how the mind works. What she needs, and since I've changed that mindset and I've been applying a lot more hands-on and a lot more audio, and I don't stress so much about her reading, guess what? She's picked it up on her own. And now because she doesn't feel so much of the stress and the pressure, she has been able to, on her own, just overcome a lot of these things. And so is that what you find, Patty, that that is the way to go to not only educate yourself for your child, but really to just trust?
Yes, yeah, because knowledge is power, in a sense that so education and understanding what is the issue. So as a therapist, we always start with assessment, but assessment is ongoing. So we're constantly, continually assessing, what are the skills, what are the strengths, and what are the areas of need. And so you identify what the individual's strengths are, and that's where you start. You start with their strengths and you build on that to be able to bring the needs, the areas of need, up to the level of strength. And then you're constantly assessing. And it is a blessing for individuals that have special needs to be able to have that one-on-one because you're not going to get that in the public school. I mean, you may get individualized therapy for maybe 23 minutes a week, 16 minutes a week. And, you know, what kind of impact does that make in the grand scheme of things? Whereas when you're at home, everything can be modified to play to the individual strengths. And so that when you focus on the strengths and educate yourself and be able to incorporate aspects or techniques that focus on the strengths, but techniques to help bring those areas of needs to develop them so that they can grow and overcome, then it's just a completely different focus. There's a level of confidence that comes along with that. And also you're focusing on the individual child's interests and areas of strengths, like I mentioned. And so there's a desire to learn. And so there's a confidence that comes along with that. So absolutely. And I definitely want to echo what you were saying and emphasize that there are so many resources. We live in a time and in a place where there are so many resources in the community, and a lot of them are free. And so just educating, getting more knowledge, assessing, getting an assessment done, and then looking for community support groups, community resources that you can come alongside and they can partner with you to where you get more ideas and more ideas. And just the online resources alone, it is just amazing. And so definitely there's no reason at all to fear, because fear does nothing but freeze us and keep us from moving forward. Yes. So absolutely agree. Excellent.
Well, and you brought up a very good point. What if you have, let's say you're in a situation where you don't have, let's say, health insurance, and you don't have the ability or the funds to just take your child to therapy. You said, what was the word? Not evaluating, but assessing. Is that the word you used?
Yes, Patty? Assessing. There's a continual period of assessment. And so say you don't have insurance and you don't have access to a skilled, trained therapist in whatever area. What we can do is assess. So look at, find out what can they do. Where you can go online and Google, say you have a third grader, what are the skills, what's the third grade level skills they should have in any specific area. And you can even find questionnaires that you can fill out for them, or little tests, sample tests. All of that's available online, where you can go through and do your own type of assessment once you again educate yourself and find out for yourself, where are they at, what are their level, if you don't have access to that, find out what is their level of functioning in whatever skill area that you're looking at. And then again, do more research. Okay, they have really high level in this area, but they're really struggling in this area, say math or reading, as you had talked about with your experience. And then look at how, like we talked about last week, how do they learn? What's their learning style? Are they visual? Are they auditory? Are they kinesthetic? Are they a little bit of all, but they're more visual, or, that kind of thing? Or if they're having dyslexic or visual processing problems, then you do want to go more auditory. If they have more central auditory processing issues, then you do want to go more visual and kinesthetic. So it's learning, educating yourself about the key areas of how we learn, then looking at your child, how does your child learn? And then always building on their strengths. Educating yourself about.
Love that. Yes. Thank you so much. And what I gathered from what you were saying also is that it is an ongoing process, which that makes perfect sense. The better they get, and then as you can continue to assess, you will keep leading them into better and better confidence, and I love what you said about building them up, because a lot of times, you know, in the public school system, they're labeled, which, you know, one of the things that the therapist told me was, you know, again, what do you mean you're going to put her back in school? Can you imagine? She would have, because that's the kind of fear I had, Patty, you know, Patricia, that I would, you know, not be able to do this. Like, this is overwhelming. How am I even, I'm not equipped to do this. And it was funny, he told me, well, this label will follow her all the way to college. And so I know you could do this, and, you know, I will help you, which honestly I have not gone back. So she's just doing so well that I just really, I educated myself, and really it helps empower you. I love what you said. You know, again, we live in a time that the resources are out there.
Yeah, and I just want to make a little distinction that there's a difference between a diagnosis and a label. So
yes.
A diagnosis is important. We have to know where we're at. Where are we starting? You know what I mean? So yes. Diagnosis, I think, is helpful and constructive. A label, on the other hand, if you're labeled with a disability, then that's what people, when they see your name, you're categorized as disabled instead of enabling a person. So like I said, a diagnosis is important. We have to know where we're starting. But a label, and in the school system, the way it is now, once they're diagnosed with something, then they're labeled as, they're called, you know, what name are they being called? You know what I'm saying? So it's important to, in the homeschool, to look at it differently. So we're not going to label somebody with a disability. We're going to label them like, what are your abilities? And we may struggle in this area, but I'm going to use my strengths to help build up or grow that area of need. And quite frankly, all of us have strengths, and all of us have areas of need, whether it's a learning disability or it's a relational issue or dysfunction, or, you know what I'm saying? So all throughout life, we have areas of strengths and areas of needs. And so it's really important to understand the concept of labeling and how that impacts a person in a group, in a community. So
yes, love that. As you were saying that, all I can tell you is, I know you guys can't see me, a smile. It brought me so much joy and happiness, because yes, absolutely, you know, and it's very, what you just described is very empowering, even for the mom, again, which is, I think it's in my outline, is not focusing on the disability. It's, again, what are your strengths, and moving and going in that direction. I love that. And I wanted to share again, this amazing book. I went online and I'm going to order it. It's Special Education at Home by Shawana Wingert. Great website, guys. Go on there, and she has amazing resources. Like Patty was saying, we live in a time now that is just, you know, so amazing, all of the resources that we have. And so when you are feeling overwhelmed, which is totally understandable, know that the joy, joy of the Lord is my strength, guys. You are not alone. There will be difficult days, just like life, but we must focus on Yahweh and His strength, and the understanding that He is our hedge of protection, and He is going to provide it all. And so we will move on. Yes, this was an amazing new concept for me. So a lot of the problems that are associated with specialized education is
Hey,
really...
Vicki, Can you
Yes.
get it back on the current slide? It went back to the beginning. There you
Really?
go. You got it. You got it
Okay.
now.
Okay. So yes, this was so mind-blowing for me, because I had never really realized or seen it this way, that a lot of these issues, like autism and even hyperactivity and ADD, a lot of these disorders are considered brain injuries. And so, guys, I would suggest that you get this book. I would suggest that you go on to this website. The plethora of information that they provide was amazing. And really, it focuses on, again, you have this diagnosis, what now? And it was just, again, focusing on that brain injury and how to heal, because that to me changed my mindset. Okay, so it's an injury. In my mind, as soon as it's considered an injury, well, that made me empowered to feel, okay, well, it can be healed, and it will be healed in the mighty name of Yeshua. And so, again, go on there, look at that, all of the great information that they have, and what could cause these injuries. Okay. And Patty, I just want to say, whenever you have something to say, you just chime in. Don't worry about it. So, what can be causing these injuries? Very, very interesting. So, lack of oxygen, neurons not firing off correctly. Of course, we know vaccinations, which Now You See TV has many, many videos, guys, on how to take care of the toxicity levels that vaccinations can cause. Interesting, when I was researching some of these things, allergies. Allergies can actually cause toxicity in the brain, which can make kids act like if they have ADD and ADHD. And a lot of times when these things are dealt with, some of these allergies are corrected, and some of these other issues, guess what? The injury heals itself, because we have an amazing body that Yahweh created. And of course, chronic illness. I was just like so saddened when I started doing some of the research. More and more kids are having things like arthritis at 10 years old, 5 years old. It was just so sad. And so, where is usually the injury found? And so, super interesting. Left side of the brain, you'll see dyslexia, sensory processing disorder, central auditory disorder, reading and language disorders, speech and mute issues. On the right side of the brain, if the injury is there, you have ADD, ADHD, autism, the opposition defiant disorder, Tourette's and involuntary movements, and OCD. And so, what I found, guys, is in researching all of these things, that the key to really healing your child's brain was oxygen. Incredible. Oxygenating your child's brain and doing things that will spark the neurons and start regrowing neurons in their brains. And so, of course, number one, that's everything, is our nutrition. What we feed our children. Again, are we doing fatty, healthy fats? Are we doing coconut oil and avocado oil? Very, very important. The brain, if it does not have healthy fats, it starts to wither away. And so, foods that are high in antioxidants, berries, garlic, all of these natural, fruits and vegetables that our Father has given us to heal the body. And then, of course, I'm a mom, so I get it. How do we possibly, which I wanted to talk this over with you, Patty, how do you get a 5-year-old, a picky 2-year-old to eat some of these things? That's the first thing that came to my mind. Again, no red food dyes, guys. Imperative. Red food dye, red 40, any food dyes, but red in particular, I mean, really affects their brain. It's a very horrible, toxic
Well, and do you know
ingredient.
what it is? It's petroleum. It's what is
Oh,
cast off
really?
of
I didn't
oil
know that.
production. Yes. So when we first started coming into the understanding that Yahweh's God's instructions are still for us today, and we started changing our diet, we realized that. So we started looking into food dyes, like what were they? And so red 4 was actually made from beetles. And so, of course, that's
Ooh,
unclean. And
unclean.
so there became a demand for an alternative food coloring. So they developed red number 40, which is petroleum based. It's what, when they refine oil,
Huh.
the petroleum is, so that's what that's the basis for red number 40 is petroleum. And
Wow.
petroleum is not, we should not be ingesting it, and we should not be putting it on our skin.
Hmm.
So just do
Wow.
research on petroleum. But that, and you all look, everybody needs to do their own research. That's what we found when we did our research. And I thought, I don't want to consume petroleum.
Wow. No, in fact, it's crazy. It makes so much sense to me because, my son, Bradley, is allergic to anything plastic and anything that is petroleum based. So now I understand the behavior. Like, it's crazy how it makes him so crazy. I understand. And another thing we need to talk about, Patty, is low sugar, soybean and gluten. These are allergens. They have found that allergens that attack the immune system, which of course, number one thing, what is it that it does? It creates toxins in our babies' bodies. And again, more toxins, worse injuries. But again, I wanted to, have you chime in because I know you have experience in this. How do you make a 5-year-old that is already, having issues or whatever old, not, have them eat celery, have them eat alfalfa sprouts and avocados, and, I do smoothies.
Right.
What do you suggest?
Well, here's some things that have helped. And, I have a couple of picky eaters. And when my kids were little, I worked outside the home. And so it was challenging. It was difficult. But I did have a couple of ideas because I would work with adults and children that had that were very difficult to eat because of a lot of sensory issues. And so you want to make food fun. And so if your child is get a plate, and you look at the plate as a canvas. So if a child is interested in bugs, you want to make a bug out of food. So for instance, ants on a log, you could do a piece of celery and you want them to make it with you. Okay, so you want a piece of celery and have them mix the peanut butter and honey together, or molasses, or maple syrup, pure maple syrup, whatever kind of sweetener, and mix that together and put that on the celery, and then put blueberries or, just whatever kind of small little berry. And, you want to create, if they like spiders, make a spider out of food and get creative with it. You know what I mean? Make a face out of, a piece of squash for a slice of squash, or cucumber for the eyes, and celery for the mouth, or, or make blueberries the mouth, create a face in the plate with their food. You can create a butterfly, make the outline of a butterfly. And what you can do is you can take a little bit of peanut butter and just make an outline with just a small smear of peanut butter in the shape of a butterfly or whatever, and then have them start, putting berries, blueberries or whatever in the shape, and slice up strawberries, get colorful with that. You can also learn how to do your colors and shapes. So as you're, teach them the shape of a triangle. You can incorporate different learning activities, letters, the letter A, the letter B, the letter S, outline it with strawberries, the letter B, outline it with blueberries. So you can make mealtime not only fun, but find new ways to get them interested, but also it could be a learning tool as well, especially when they're little. If you do grapes, be sure to slice grapes in half long ways. Always, never give your child a whole grape, but always slice it in half long ways. And you can do that as the letter G. So you just get creative that way, but literally let them play with their food. And then that way you can, use alfalfa sprouts as hair. So you've got this face, you're making your face, you can do alfalfa sprouts as hair, kiwi as eyes. I'm trying to look at leafy greens. You could do spinach for ears. Just be fun with it. A cantaloupe for the mouth, or watermelon. Or like I said, do that in the shapes of numbers, letters, shapes. Have them write their name with food. If they're whatever level that they're at, and you can do this with any food, pineapple, any fruit you can cut into shapes. And so those are just a few ideas. Also, for tactile learners, it's really good. Have them paint with peanut butter, and it'll be messy. We have gone through a lot of garbage bags by cutting a garbage bag open and putting it over the table. So it's easy cleanup, that kind of thing. But have them finger paint with peanut butter. It's a great sensory, if they're not allergic to peanuts. If they're allergic to peanuts, you can do yogurt or, anything like that, where you can make that where you, I'm trying to explain it because I'm very visual. So I'm trying to explain it with words, where you cover a surface with a thin layer of yogurt or peanut butter, and then have them with their finger trace out letters, numbers, shapes, and then they can lick their fingers. You know what I mean? So they're smelling it, they're feeling it, they're seeing it. So use food as glue, like peanut butter or yogurt or that kind of thing, and just have fun with it. We're only limited by our imagination. So that's just some ideas to kind of get you going. Broccoli is great for making, for using on faces. And then once they're playing with their food, literally, they become more interested in it. And then mixing a little flavor seasoning. You can use some oils, like mix olive oil and lemon juice and honey together. That's a really good base, just depending on their flavors. My son loved citrus. He loved lemons. And so, but just finding out what they like. Pears, if they like a little more sweet. Apples are huge. You can do some amazing shapes with apples. And so letting your kids play with their food.
You have just given me so many ideas to get my kids to eat more fruits and vegetables. It doesn't matter the age. I think even my 16-year-old would enjoy what you're saying.
We all like to play with our food. Have fun with it, and get them in the kitchen with you, cutting up and that kind of thing. So, and just playing some really good music, instrumental music,
making it fun.
Yes.
Fun.
Just a pleasant environment. And for any of those who are have difficulty, if you're retraining a palate, you have to make it fun and engaging. You really, really do.
That is such amazing advice, Patty. Thank you so much.
And then also taking a picture of their artwork, of their food artwork. And so you want to keep in their mind, you want to, put it on the refrigerator. Look, for the parent, the father, whoever, so that you can brag about them. Look what they made with their food. Look what art they did today. So that it's an opportunity to praise them, but also it gives them that visual memory later after the activity of the fun that they had in the kitchen with this fresh, wholesome food.
Wow, I love that. And you know what comes to my mind also? It takes off a little bit of the stress that can be created about you have to have this nutrition, right? It makes it just not only a fun experience, but less stressful. That's what fun does. It just makes you just gotta let go. And I tell you that, I speak to myself because I need that sometimes. We just get so caught up in the chores and the learning that we forget to have fun.
Exactly. And one more note about getting kids more interested in food, and this is just something that we've started in the last couple of years, is have them as part of your homeschool plant something, whatever that is, and they'll watch it grow. So like if you buy romaine, organic romaine at the store, when you cut off the bottom part of it anyway, put it in a little bit of water and set it on the windowsill, and then they can watch their salad grow and go, oh, look, that is your salad that you made grow. Now tear that off and tear it into your salad and their favorite dressing or whatever, so that they watch their food grow. They can tear it off. And you don't need a lot of space. You're growing your own food from what you already bought. So it allows them to see the whole process and start harvesting their own food, so to speak. So that's another way to help them get more engaged in healthy food.
Well, I think every family should be growing something. I think it's part of the Father's ways. If we can't have a full garden, container gardening, really, really helps understand, because everything in the Bible is agriculture and really opens up your mind to the scriptures. I think understanding the growing process of what seeds do and how they grow, I think that's an amazing idea. And going out there and getting together as a family and doing all of these amazing things. I love it. Thank you so much, Patty. That's awesome. And so these are two books that I found that I think would be amazing. The Disconnected Kid Nutrition Plan. I personally am going to get this book. I think that, again, just having the resources under our belts would really, really help. And again, not that you have to do everything this book says, but like Patty was saying, just having that understanding and having the knowledge just makes you feel more empowered. And so we are going to one of my favorite subjects ever, essential oils. This is a study that was performed in Vienna and in the Berlin University. Researchers found that sesquiterpenes, everybody say that, sesquiterpenes, a natural compound found in essential oils like vetiver, patchouli, cedarwood, who's one of my favorite oils. It's a biblical oil, so is sandalwood and frankincense. Look at how awesome. Can increase the level of oxygen in the brain by up to 28%. Guys, when we are homeschooling, I have a little diffuser going that I put a lot of times. I do different blends, but my main go-to is cedarwood. Cedarwood is a very inexpensive oil that has amazing properties, guys. Frankincense for sure, and the number 2 would be cedarwood, guys. It increases not only the brain oxygen, okay, which leads to, of course, the lymphatic system in the brain all of these healing things happen, and it helps not only with the emotions, it helps with learning and attitudes, and a lot of it has to do with detoxing. A lot of these oils are very, very tend to detox on a cellular level. And so what happens is that it gets almost like all that fogginess out of our brains. And so I definitely recommend essential oils. And again, what sesquiterpenes are. Sesquiterpenes are compounds found in essential oils, guys, that literally deprogram miswritten and garbled codes in our DNA and rewrites them and throws them out. They're very, very detoxing. Not only do they oxygenate, but I love that they go into the cellular level, and literally, not only when are they detoxing, they rewrite and deprogram bad DNA. A lot of times, what is bad DNA? Cancer. And so, guys, essential oils is the way to go. And if anybody needs any help with essential oils, I know that we have Nitsa, who is our expert, but I have a lot of amazing testimonies on essential oils that I would love to share. So if anybody needs them, let me know. Any information that I could help with, I would love to do that. So frankincense. Okay, if there was a essential oil out there that would be essential in under your belt to have for brain injuries, it's frankincense. Why? It's because of the molecular makeup that it has that not only includes sesquiterpenes, but it also has monoterpenes. It has an amazing amount of detoxifying compounds. And again, it's one of the two oils. Very few things can cross the blood-brain barrier, guys. The Father in heaven has created our brain where it stops chemicals and toxins from entering our brain. Well, frankincense, because of the amazing powers that it has, is one of those substances on earth that can pass the blood-brain barrier, which means that it could also, as a mom, if you're nursing and if you have a baby in your womb, that baby will receive all of the amazing components of frankincense. And frankincense is also a essential oil that is safe to use during pregnancy. And so really what I found that is amazing, frankincense also slows down and deepens your breath. And so what happens is that I find that when I apply it, like when we're homeschooling and I apply it to my kids, I apply it to my kids probably about 3 times a day, where I do it in the morning when we get up and we have like this little routine before we start school. If I see that, you know, some of them are being fidgety, bring out my frankincense and I oil them down. And immediately within 5 minutes, you see them just be able to refocus, guys. Amazing. And so some of the therapeutic properties of frankincense, also huge anti-tumoral and antiseptic, immune system booster. Ladies, for us ladies, collagen builder. So it's just an amazing gift from the Father. I wanted to share that our very own Nitsa has a great blend that she has on her essential oil line on Remnant Remedy that's called Focus. Again, it boosts low energy levels, which claims that it keeps people from going into shock. That's an amazing thing. And again, the oils that she uses in this blend, very clarifying. And that energy, what happens is when your brain gets like this boost of oxygen because it's being detoxified, it's like, wow, okay, great. And you just feel that you can focus better. And so one of my favorite oils, I know I have so many, guys, but besides frankincense, I do not leave my house without peppermint, guys. Why? Peppermint is a very well-priced oil, very cost effective, because I'm going to tell you, it's good for bug bites. It's good for pain and headaches. It's amazing for any stomach ailments that you could possibly have. Oh goodness, wonderful for while you're studying, again, to help you focus. All of these amazing things that it does. You can diffuse it. You can rub it across, again, your brow, on your collarbone. It really is amazing for migraines. A lot of research has been done. Of course, in Europe, they don't do that much research on essential oils here in the United States. But guys, we have the internet. Empower yourselves with knowledge. Peppermint has been found that if you put it on the top of, you rub it on one of your thumbs and you put it on the top of the roof of your mouth, that peppermint will literally open up your sinuses, help you with breathing. Just an amazing oil. So I don't leave my house without it, guys.
Yes, I just have to pop in
Chime
about
in.
peppermint because you know, I am one of those evidence-based healthcare practitioners. Like you know, like show me the money, show me the evidence. And so it's just been, I guess, since I've known you that I've started exploring essential oils, and first looking for research. And Vanderbilt University has an amazing study that they did with essential oils. I think it was orange in their ER on the healthcare workers, and just job satisfaction went from like 70% hating their job to like over 70% great job satisfaction.
Oh
and
my goodness, you have to share that with me. I'm sorry to mean to interrupt, but I didn't even know they were doing that. Wow.
I think Susan Humphreys, Dr. Susan Humphreys did that. For some reason, that name's coming to mind. I could be wrong. But anyway, it's just the Vanderbilt essential oil study. You can just Google that. It's just amazing. But peppermint oil was one of the first oils that I got. And I used to take a lot of ibuprofen for my headaches or my, inflammation or whatnot. And so I always start now with peppermint oil. Before I do anything, I'll take peppermint oil and I'll drink at least a full glass of water. Because a lot of times, guys, our issues are related to dehydration. We're not hydrated enough. I can't emphasize that enough. In our culture in America, we are chronically on borderline dehydrated. And so that can cause headaches, inflammation, migraines, just allergies, sinus issues, a myriad of health problems. So when I have a headache, first thing I'll do is drink a cup of water, and then I'll put peppermint oil on my brow, put it in my palms and breathe it in, put it on my collarbones. And 9 times out of 10, my headache immediately is relieved. And usually with ibuprofen, it's, at least 15, 20 minutes for me to get any type of relief. And so it's just amazing. And it's hard on the liver and kidneys because it has to filter out all of, just whatever pill you take, those organs have to filter it out. Versus, an essential oil, I have had no side effects. And so I just want to give that little testimony about peppermint oil. It's very cost effective. It's cheap. You know what I mean? And I have a little container that I keep coconut oil with a little peppermint oil mixed in as a carrier oil, the coconut oil being. And so I just really, really enjoy that. And also in terms of, there's also a lot of research about if anybody has memory problems, rosemary. There are studies here in the United States and elsewhere that have shown the evidence that this rosemary, smelling rosemary, helps improve memory and recall. So when I worked with those with a traumatic brain injury, memory deficits are, always present. And rosemary oil is very, very effective with enhancing memory.
Awesome, Patty, like, wow, and I'm so glad you brought up the coconut oil, because I was going to totally forget to add that information on there, because yes, most of these oils actually work better when you, again, they're called carrier oils. It actually helps the oil get deeper and travel easier into the cell if you use what is called the carrier oil. Now, carrier oil can be, and I'm going to say 100% organic. You don't want to get a essential oil and then put in something that has a bad chemical in it, like, a cheap oil, carrier oil. But yes, my favorite is fractionated coconut oil, absolutely, because coconut oil has amazing healing powers, guys, amazing. And so thank you so much for sharing that. The best oils for brain injuries out there, guys, write this all down. And again, you know that we have ways where we can share our information and share our slides. But again, frankincense and myrrh. Frankincense and myrrh were the oils, and I don't know if there were oils at that moment, but definitely frankincense and myrrh were resins that were given to the Messiah. Why? Because they, at that time, again, the mindset, they were worth more than gold because of the amazing aspects that they had. Again, cedarwood is a biblical oil. Melissa, clove is also another oil that is very cost effective. I love that word. Patricia, very cost effective, clove, and super antibacterial, guys. And when you're using all of these oils on kids, very, very important, the bottom of their feet, you can make little rollers. I'm at a point, my kids are at a point that they just come and, Mom, oil me up. So for a lot of the things that I do with them, I don't do rollers. I just, use it neat. And then I just follow up with some coconut oil right after. I don't even do rollers anymore. They're old enough. But you want to be very careful, because most of these oils, except probably the cedarwood, are considered hot oils. What can happen is that it could burn them. And you don't want to start applying essential oils and then they reject it because they're feeling like a hot sensation. So you have to be very careful. Bottom of their feet, even along their backs, they have found, guys, that a lot of diseases kind of collect in our spine. And so when you apply all of these oils on their spine and on their brain stem, very, very effective, a lot of healing powers. And so we are going to move on because we have so much to cover. Okay, and I can talk about essential oils all day. So supplements, guys, we are not giving a medical advice. We are just sharing. I needed to say that because it's very, very important that everybody do their own research. And again, these are just things that we do and that we have shared and information that we are presenting, but we are not giving medical advice. And so very important, all your B12s, all your Bs, herbal medicines like ginseng. I didn't know. I still don't know what flavonoids are, guys. I didn't have a chance to research what that is, but I do know what magnesium is. And by the way, I have magnesium here in my house. Anytime my husband or I or my mom and now my 16-year-old, anytime that we have headaches or we feel like a funk coming on of anything, we use magnesium. You can go out to your health food store and buy good or Amazon good quality magnesium and put it in some organic orange juice. Take it, guys. You'll never need to use ibuprofen again. I promise. Amazing. And it's very, very good for stress relieving. And just like Patty was saying, first, most of us are just not only dehydrated, but we're lacking in so many nutrients. That what happens is that all of these ailments that we feel, it's because we're lacking all these things. And our babies too, very, very important that we keep them There's a lot of amazing, I'm trying to think of a company, I forget the word, I think Raw something or other. They have like these little chewables that are really, really taste really great and are all natural for kids. I use another brand, but I know that Raw is fairly available. You can buy it in Amazon. And so again, for the brain, omega-3 acids, very, very important. It's used a lot in traumatic brain injuries. Omega-3 fatty acids, very, very important. And so we're going to move on. I loved this. Oh, sorry. This blessed me so much. And I hope you guys can see it. Let me see. Hopefully we're good. This cross crawl pattern exercise. I want you guys to know that I applied this today for the first time in my homeschool routine. Guys, it was awesome. Me and the kids, my two younger ones, not Hunter, we did jumping jacks. We got on the floor to started crawling. Why? Because they have found that when you do, look it up, guys. I don't know if you can see this slide. It's called Monkey Wisdom. You go in there and it's almost like this movement that you do laterally with both your arms and your legs. And guys, it's supposed to spark the neurons in their brains. Like, how awesome is our creator? I was like, what? That is amazing. Playing is good for kids, okay? And especially for special needs kids that have, that we need to do everything possible, not only to enhance their life, but definitely to get those neurons sparking. And so one that I found very interesting that I'm starting to use with my daughter, she loves music, loves listening to music. And for me, it was very difficult because when I'm doing study work, I can't have a lot of noise and a lot of stuff, going around, but she loves music. So again, using the chart in one of the other slides that I showed, getting this music and putting it on the opposite side of the injury is supposed to be amazing and supposed to help with the healing process. And so, Patty, do you have anything to chime in on this?
Yes. It was one of those things we had to overcome. So, that I had a mindset that my daughter loves it calms her to listen to instrumental music, not lyrical music, but just music that is instrumental. And, has her earbud in, and me being a speech pathologist, they know if I can hear the music coming out of their headphones or earbuds, it's too loud. So, I see her with her earbuds in and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm always like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you listening to? And she's like, Mom, I'm just listening to music. And so it helps her focus. This is something that she found that helps her focus. So when we first started, when I stayed home and I'm like, okay, no earbuds, you need to, focus on your school and do your schoolwork and you don't need any distractions. And she did not do as well. Like she did not focus as well. Her work began to scatter. And so, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And so she told me, she's like, Mom, I do better. I know you don't do better when you're listening to things, but I do better when I listen to music. And, she only uses one earbud. And so I would listen to the other. I'm like, she is just listening to music. She's not goofing off. So she realized her own needs and sought out what helped her to focus. And so, I had to go, look, I'm sorry. You were right. I was wrong. And so it was one of those humbling experiences that, what, she knew what was best for her, where she was able to, an environment that she could succeed in. So.
Well, I guess I owe Olivia an apology because still, it's so hard.
We come from this. I know we come from this mindset. It's like, okay, you need to strip everything. It's unlearning, and getting out of this dichotomy of, okay, we have to sit in this classroom and you have to sit at this desk and you have to watch this
Such
teacher.
a great point.
Yes.
Yes.
Learn everywhere. Everything is a learning opportunity. The kitchen, the laundry room, the chores, the yard, everything is all of our environment. Just look at how the Father teaches us. He teaches us through every modality. He uses everything as a learning opportunity. His creation, everything in his creation, he uses as a learning opportunity. He didn't create a sterilized classroom for us to learn in. He created his world, and it's the same for our children. So,
oh, that is beautiful. Yes, it's not about a sterile world. I love that. Absolutely. And it really is about a mindset. It's about understanding that not only what works for us doesn't work for our children. We're different individuals, but yet also the way that I went to public school, and the way that I learned is not necessarily, we know is not the best way. And so that also brings me excitement, because can you imagine the potential of our children, Patty? Like, how awesome. Like, look at the slide that we have right now. It's about focusing on your child's gifts, right? Can you imagine what an amazing generation this is going to be, as we invest in our kids, focusing on the gifts and not focusing on the negative and what the world defines as a special need, quote unquote. Again, I am still going through this journey, guys, spending significant amount of time researching and understanding, just like Patty was saying, understanding our child's gifts and what works for them. Encourage your children to use them. And before you can even encourage your children to use them, you have to know what that is. And you have to know what that is for yourself, because you can't give something you don't know how to do yourself. And so I loved this. Individuals with special needs in history. Moses, I don't know if everybody remembers the story that he stuttered, right, Patty? He stuttered.
Yep.
Your speech therapist. Yep. You tell me, isn't that a speech issue?
It is, absolutely.
And it's Moses, like, come on. So Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein, all of these individuals in history that were imagined, the history that they made, were kids that had special needs. And so this is just so empowering and so helpful, guys, because we're on this journey, all of us together. And so this was a hard one for me. Okay. And when I say hard, guys, I share a lot, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. A lot of times it's difficult for me homeschooling to really understand what is a behavior problem and what is, if it's like I put here, is it a heart issue or is it a physical problem? I look back to the amount of times that I put my daughter on timeout because in my mind, she wasn't listening. And really, or she didn't do this, or she didn't do that. Now I look back and I understand that it had a lot to do with her not being able to focus and the physical aspect of the problems that she has. And so, it's funny. I've apologized to her, and I told her, this year is going to be a new fresh start. Guys, we're concentrating on the positive. And so this amazing chart that Homeschooling Torah provided, I love it. On the left brain, again, what happens is if you have a left brain injury, a lot of times positive and rewarding and encouraging, I don't want to say punishment, but consequence is best. And so what would that mean? It's like if you were speaking to your child and you say, if you do this, you will get this, or it's in a positive aspect that you are giving them the consequence. Now, if they have a right brain injury, they have found that negative punishment and negative consequence, or the way that you express it, works better. If you don't do this, you won't get this. Do you see the difference there, Patty?
Yes, yes. And that's interesting. I hadn't seen it in that way before. So I'm looking at, like, the right brain
Which that's a very
attributes
good
in the left
point.
brain. So yeah, but that's interesting.
Let me
Yeah,
go
definitely.
back. Because, and I have to tell you, and I know that she Anne Elliott put her resources on there where she got this information in one of those websites. But it's funny, my daughter, dyslexia, 100%, I can tell you, she is reward. More reward, the better she will do. My son, on the other hand, Bradley, and it's funny, my two boys, they're much more right brain issue, I've noticed a little bit in my son. He has my 6-year-old that was born a pound 11 ounces. He is having some issues with some involuntary movements. So it's very, very interesting what you were saying about, and I can tell you this chart, it's exactly how it is in my house. Isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting. Very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, behavior. Guys, and this is part of what we are learning as a homeschool community, walking the way. Again, when we teach, and we're not necessarily enforcing, how do we teach? They learn by example. They see you walk it out, then they acquire the skills. So as you're teaching them, it's not a matter that you're enforcing a law. That's how the Father is with us. It's not that He's not enforcing those rules or those boundaries on us. It's a hedge of protection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, are we walking out the fruit of the spirits with our kids? Very, very important. Are we being gentle? I've had to work a lot on that, especially when I have a lot on my plate. Gentleness is huge. Do we have realistic expectations? Again, every child is different. It's not a, in the box, one way for everybody. That's what's the beauty of homeschooling. So that means that you have to have very realistic expectations for your child, and again, positive, speak life. That's what Yeshua told us all the time. Catch them being good. So what does that mean? Don't only just concentrate on when they're doing things incorrectly or when they're getting in trouble. Catch them being good. And this one, I'm going to tell you, was a big one for me. I don't know about you, Patty, but I would make promises all the time. And I would find myself not keeping them all the time with my own kids. And they would tell me, Mom, but you promised. Well, guess what? I'm making it a point, and I've overcome big time in this sense that I do not make promises for the most part. And if I am promising something, it's because I know 100% for sure that I can keep it. Again, keep your word. This is follow through, consistency. Weren't we just talking about this, Patty, before we got on about, the kids being not only consistent, but, you don't have to tell them 3, 4, 5 times, do what you're doing. No. What does the word say? Where is it? Is it in Proverbs, or where is it that it says with a swift rod or something?
Oh, yes.
Anyways.
I can't think of it. It's slipping. But yeah, so it's important to teach them the expectation of obedience the first time they're asked. So when they're asked to do something, the expectation is they do it the first time, and not, when if I have to tell you again, no, it's expectation. You tell them what needs to be done and they do it. And so that's something that I had to learn. My husband really really taught me the benefit of first time obedience and rewarding that. And and consequences for not, because the Father, expects that with us. That's what we want to teach them, that because we want them to follow through with Him, that first time obedience. So that's such an important, and you will save yourself such a headache later on as they grow older, if that's the expectation, first time obedience, and just train that.
Yes, that is very powerful, because really that is what the world is. A lot of times they will get just that one opportunity, and if we teach them that you're going to get many, many, many opportunities, there'll be a lot of, again, the expectations won't be met, right?
Right,
And
right, because we want them to hear the Father's voice, to hear and obey, to hear and obey. We don't want procrastinators, we want
yes, I
someone to
love
hear and
that.
obey.
Amen. I love that. Yes. And again, something that I am learning, because I'm going to tell you, this whole self-control, it's one of the fruits of the Spirit. And really it has a lot to do with them understanding that you are walking it out. Are you walking out self-control with them? And that's, again, being their self-control until they learn. The majority of the time, they're seeing how you behave. You can talk all you want, but if you're not walking the walk, it's not going to work. And I know that a lot of these things are easier said than done. But I know that through the Father, He gives us everything that we need, guys. And we just have to stay focused on the Messiah. How did the Messiah walk all these things out? And so another thing that I myself have experienced, Patty, and I know that we all have, we are a family. And so, it has to be something that all of us are involved. Very, very important. We cannot make the child that is having the issue, like the whole focus of not only our day, but a lot of times when you have a child with special needs, they become, I can tell you as a mom with a baby that was born a pound 11 ounces, he became the center of my world for so long. And I look back that now he's 6, and I'm starting to really see some of the consequences on that. And I'm trying to, retrain him and retrain myself. And it's, we're going through a little bit of a stage, but really, it's a whole family thing, and again, let's not compare who defines what being behind is, which I know that you can chime in a lot about that, Patty, being in the field that you were in. We live in a society that all we do is compare. Every time you go to the doctor, it's this chart that your children are placed into a percentile, and it's just comparison. And again, I'm not saying that not to adhere to what the state requires, but understanding that a lot of times when we think our children are behind, it's just that it's different learning styles, right?
Exactly. So there's developmental milestone ranges. And so, but everybody develops differently. Now, it is good to know what those developmental milestone ranges are, so that, you can look at your child. So that somebody who is very kinesthetic, a child, they may, crawl and walk and run at a very early age, but their language may be more lagging behind, versus somebody who's very verbal. They may be talking up a storm, but not necessarily, they may be lagging towards the latter range of walking or that kind of thing. So it's good to, again, educate yourself on what the developmental milestones are. When you become a parent, it's good to educate, okay, what do I need to be looking for as my child develops? Not hyper focused on it, not obsessive about it, not checking, okay, they're 6 months, they should, be doing this. Okay, they're 12 months, they should be saying 2-word utterances, and it's not that, but it's good to be aware of where a child should be with their language, with their cognitive, how they're able to learn, and that kind of thing, so that you can pick up when they're not progressing with a certain skill. So you can pick up on that early so that you can use their strengths and kind of build and grow in those areas. But definitely it's good to keep a big picture mindset. Look at the person as a whole and look at their gifts and their skills and their abilities and their passions and their desires. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh no, it did. And in fact, it created a beautiful picture in my mind. Again, you know, the way that the Bible describes, we're in a race, or we're on this walk, and we cannot focus on just the now. We know the promise that the Messiah has given us, and we know what the outcome is going to be. It's going to be glorious. And so even when we have children with, you know, certain issues, we should focus on that. I love that. Definitely. I love that. Love that. Thank you so much. And another thing I wanted to touch upon, which this is so funny, let them move, wiggle, draw, fidget. Again, thinking outside the box, guys. You know, again, I grew up in the public school system, and I wanted them to sit in in their chair, looking at the board. No, that's not how that works. They are going to wiggle. That's what they were made for. They're going to draw. My 16-year-old still does that during our Torah portion. He'll sit there and draw something, and you know. And it's funny, Patty, just like you tested your daughter, I test him, and like, okay, so what were we just talking about? Oh, and he can just tell me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's listening. So, you know, kids are kids. In today's society, we want them to just be so still and just put them into this box that they just were not made for that. They have all of this energy, you know, and especially if you have a child that has issues focusing. A lot of times I have found that if my kids are having focus issues, you know what? Okay, that's it. We're going to go out there 15 minutes, 5 minutes, go around the house 3 times, go ride your bike, come back, boom, they're focused. Have you found that too, Patty?
Absolutely. And so we need to be able to move. And there's something about our sensory system and our kinesthetic. Some people need more compression than others. So if a kid is jumping up and down, don't try to get them to stop. That's their body trying to regulate itself. So if they need to jump, so if they're wiggly, they're fidgety, they're moving, say, all right, let me see, how many jumping jacks can you do? I bet you can't do 50, you know, or pick a number and, you know, get them moving, get them jumping. Stretching is really, really good. You know, I bet you can't touch your toes and keep your legs straight. Oh, you got to keep your legs straight. You know, that just get that and stretching and also we don't necessarily, it is good to, there does have to be desk work, writing work, and that kind of thing, but it doesn't need to be, it's not hours upon hours. So if we're wanting them to learn, you know, their letters and spelling, it doesn't necessarily all have to be writing, especially like with little kids. You can get the alphabet magnets or the little foam letters. And you can do shaving cream or yogurt, like I mentioned earlier, and get them to draw their letters out or spell their name with the magnets on the fridge. Or, you know, there's other ways.
I want to chime in.
Uh-huh.
Real quick, what you were saying, you know what we bought this year that was awesome? Stamps. I bought them a stamp set with all their alphabets and all their numbers, and that has been working amazing, Patty. Like Bradley learned his name. Olivia loves doing really her work. You know, she's writing out a paragraph, but guess what? She takes this whole big paper and stamps it all out, and she seems to love that. So definitely.
Absolutely. And you don't have to spend a fortune either. You know, you can go to the local peddler's mall or Consignment shops and peddlers malls are great. They often have all that kind of stuff. And then also homeschool co-op exchanges and things like that. So.
Love that. What a great idea. Yes, your Goodwill. Go to Goodwill. All the awesome books that you could find in Goodwill.
Goodwill, DAV, St. Vincent de Paul. You can get, books for, I went with Stephanie Pounders to our local St. Vincent de Paul, and she got all of these books for, a dime for one or 15 cents or, yes.
Awesome. Well, speaking of books, guys, we have some recommended resources here. Love this one. This is why I put it first. Heart and Mind. What does the Bible say about learning? Like, I need to get this book because, again, understanding the mindset of what the Father sees as being important and what the Bible, and what he calls us really to know, which is his heart. And of course, for me, and I can go back to this slide, what is the perfect curriculum? All of these curriculums are just guides. My perfect curriculum is, and what my kids are learning has to align with Scripture. And so another one that I found very helpful that I myself am going to be getting also, The Sensory Child Gets Organized. That is a big one for me. That is something that I'm definitely going to work on a lot, Patty, because I have smaller kids and I just get so overwhelmed with being a stay-at-home mom and not being able to. Before, they would leave for 8 hours. Now they're just here, and really it's taken me almost the whole year to really come up with a schedule, and I really want to make this year not only a schedule time to really knock it all out and make sure that we get everything that we need to do done, but how to get organized. Do you have anything you can say on getting organized?
Absolutely. There's two different mindsets on organization from my perspective. One is kind of compartmentalized. This needs to go here. Everything has a home and it needs to stay there. It needs to go back there immediately, versus a daily rhythm, a weekly rhythm. And so I used to, now it's different if you have like small kids that are on the floor and they're, picking things up and putting it in their mouth. You do have to sweep more often, especially if you have older kids that are dropping stuff. But it's developing a rhythm, a daily rhythm, a routine. We get up and this is the first thing that we do. And I would recommend the first thing that you do is you come together and you pray and you get into the Word, whether it's a scripture or, you have like a board or something on the refrigerator where it's the scripture of the day, whether it's around the weekly tour portion or whatnot, where you're start the day, say in the kitchen where you're getting breakfast around or in the living room, because I don't necessarily do breakfast right away. So it may be, stretching out and waking up, and you start with prayer and then some scripture reading. And then, you'd in your household develop your daily rhythm. And within that rhythm, there is a time to clean up and pick up. So, before or after, before and you clean up from the activity that you've done, and then you move on to a different activity. So you build within that rhythm. When you're done with one thing, it's time to close that activity out with a cleanup that everybody's involved in. And whatever they can do, have them do it. So if it's it does take time, but it's worth it in the end. So if you have a little 3-year-old that can walk, they can pick something up and put it in a bin, that kind of thing, just depending on where your child's at. And then when you're ready to move on to the next, and it doesn't have to be cleaned up perfectly, but just that activity's closed out and you're ready to move on to meal prep or whatever the next activity is. And then with meal prep, there's that rhythm of that activity within the day where there's a beginning, there's the bulk of the activity, and then there's an end. And the end involves some cleanup, some closing it out, some putting things back where they go. Again, not perfectly, and everything isn't perfectly cleaned, but at the end of the day, you're not left with the mess of every single activity of the day. So does that make sense?
Perfect sense. And I can tell you, um, that what you're saying is so true, because like I said, and thank you so much for saying that it takes time, that it's a process, because, you know, and I want to share this really, Patty, and my passion for doing this is kind of taxing on us, guys. Our weekly show every week, it's a lot of work, but for us, we needed to get this out because we knew there was so many new homeschool families out there, homeschool moms that were contacting us, you know, and really needed not only the encouragement, but the support and the understanding that, for me anyways, I see it as part of the exodus that we're experiencing. And so, you know, thank you so much for saying that, Patty, that it takes time, right? You're not going to you're not going to have this all figured out in your first or second or third. It just takes time. And I've also realized that, you know, what works for me doesn't necessarily work for the other family, you know, or even in my own household, what works for me may not work for my child or my children. I'll tell you, I love cleaning. My thing was and always has been, if I feel a little bit out of control, what would I do? I would gather my cleaning products, my broom and my dusting stuff, and dust, and clean, clean, clean. Guess what? I used to have 8 hours to do that. That would bring me joy. Well, not anymore. Now I just don't have the time. So I've had to adjust, and I would wake up and have my days. The first thing I would do is, okay, well, we're first doing the chores. Guess what? That did not work for my kids. It would shut them down completely. And so I've realized what you're saying, Patty. Thank you so much, that I've had to kind of adjust to doing a little bit throughout the day. And what really has helped me is definitely closing out our day after dinner, making sure that the house, even if we all get together and do it 15 minutes, we all get together and tidy the whole house right before we go to bed. That has been very, very helpful. But yes, absolutely. If it's a little bit at a time, if you can very easily get overwhelmed by the whole thing. So yes.
Exactly. And just something else along those lines is, as moms, we are constantly multitasking. And so I don't know about you all, but I rarely, especially when kids are younger, I rarely get through one activity without some type of, they're coming and they're asking for something, or there's something else needs to be attended to. So I rarely get through one activity, I don't care what it is, without having to divert my attention to something else. And so it's really important that we keep the mindset that we could look at it one of two ways: an interruption or an opportunity. And so it's really important not to look at when an activity when our attention needs to be diverted, that we don't look at it, especially when it's coming from our children, that we don't look at it as an interruption, because then they see themselves as an interruption in our lives. And we can never, ever do that, because they're not. But it's an opportunity to incorporate them, either us into whatever activity, and you use your judgment based on whatever that wherever your attention needs to be. But it's an opportunity to engage them either in the activity that you're doing, or engaging them in whatever needs to be taken care of. So I just want to really point out the difference between just perspective. Is something an interruption, or is it an opportunity? And we really need to think about looking at when our attention is diverted, that it's an opportunity for learning, whatever that is. But also and it may be an opportunity for teaching them how to correctly gain attention. You know what I mean? Instead of mom, 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 mom. You know, okay, that's not how you gain attention. So everything's an opportunity to learn, you know, social manners or whatever it may be. So
Yes, amen. Thank you for that. Love that. Absolutely. You know, and it reminds me that it's all a mindset. It's you know, what you're choosing. Are you choosing, like you said, to make this into an opportunity and make it into something that can be a blessing? Or is it an opportunity to just get aggravated and allow your joy to be lost? So thank you so much, Patty, for sharing that. I'm just so excited. I think this is blessing so many people. It's blessing me. I'm so excited that we're sharing all of this. So quickly, because I know it's already 7:40, and I have another show with Jessica at 9. So guys, I know there must be questions out there, but these are another recommended source, Disconnected Kids. I was just looking into this, and it was amazing, amazing insight on not only what parents go through, but neurologically what happens to children. This is not just misbehavior or labels. Again, learning in spite of labels. These are actual neurological things and disorders that are going on that I personally know that if we apply the Father's ways and all of these things that we're speaking about, I know that the healing can come. And so I'm just so thankful. Again, learning in spite of labels, another great resource. And these are just books that, you know, we don't all necessarily have to get them all right now, but I know that when I went looking for the links and looking for the pictures, guys, a lot of them are on Kindle. And you can buy them and just listen to them as, you know, you're going throughout your day, doing your chores, or, you know, so there's a lot of amazing resources right now. And so finally, we're almost there. Again, we are to be transformed through the renewing of our minds, guys. This is one of the scriptures that that Patty uses a lot, that I love, love, love. You know, we are to be holy sacrifices. Our bodies are to be living and holy sacrifices acceptable to Yah. You know, these are spiritual service of worship. And it's the same for our kids. And as we walk this out, they're going to see and they're going to understand that we're not to be conformed to this world, but we are to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And so, and this is what makes us acceptable and perfect. And it's just so beautiful to have His word and to have the understanding that we have His hedge of protection. And I just say it all the time, Yahweh's got it. He's got it. And I really hope this is all encouraging you guys out there. I want to say thank you so much for Homeschooling Torah. Alan and Elliot helped me, and I reached out to her and asked her, can I use this amazing outline? And she said, go for it. Thank you so much. She was blessed that it would help us. There is a YouTube link that if you guys, although I don't even know if you guys can use the link, but you could always copy it, stop the screen and copy it. Or you can just go onto YouTube and look for the 2017 Homeschool Family Conference, Session 11, Gifted and Talented. Amazing, guys. It blessed me so much. So we also have the Torah Observant Messiah Saved Homeschool Network on Facebook. Guys, and I totally forgot, we also have Torah Town, which I'm so excited because some of my friends and I were getting ready to get their little unit studies. We're going to order like 10 of them. And we're going to start getting together and doing a little co-op here, Patty. I'm so excited with this little group that I have of homeschool moms on my end, because I didn't know if you guys know that Patty and I live like 45 minutes away, and it's difficult sometimes for us to get together every week. And plus, Patty has older kids, so yeah, we're so excited. We're going to get Torah Towns, and we're going to start with Genesis. We've been researching it to have amazing, amazing unit studies in Scripture. And I'm so sorry I didn't put it on my little slide there, but I'm excited. There's so many things going on and crossing over. And now you see TV production, of course. Please subscribe and like. Guys, keep this in prayer. This is in my heart. It's like I cannot, Father, get it out of my mind. And I'm like, you have to find a way. I don't even know how to organize this. I'm going to have a little meeting with Stephanie and John Pounders to see how we can work this out. But how cool, Patty, would it be if we had a nice CTV homeschooling conference strictly Torah observant based? Would that not be awesome?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We just got to leave it up to the Father and watch him do what he's going to do.
Because we have so many things going on. I know. Well, and if it's not in 2019, in the near future, the Father will make it happen. You know, I just feel like that there's so many, you know, resources and yes, so many conferences out there for homeschoolers. There's national ones, but there's really never been one for, you know, Torah observance. It's very, very different. It's very different.
It is. And so I'm excited about what the Father's going to do.
Okay, so keep it in prayer. Keep it in prayer. And so, yes, our Crossing Over website, guys, is going to feature a homeschool section. We're also, like we have said several times, Patty and I are definitely committing to a monthly homeschool show. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen. We think it's probably going to be after Sukkot. And so please, all of these things, just keep in prayer for us because, you know, we're moms, we're wives, we're moms, and we have a lot on our plate. But yet the Father blesses us so much. And you guys are just an amazing audience, always that are so encouraging. So again, our contact information and our Crossing Over Facebook page also. And really, that's all I got. I got through it. Yay!
Oh, excellent. Okay, I wanted to make sure I was unmuted. All right, I've got one last question. I'm going to get through these questions.
Okay.
So lots of encouraging comments, though. I did post them over to the side there so you could see, but lots of encouraging comments. So we're just so grateful to all of our Now You See TV family for all your encouragement. And I'll take a couple of these and then chime in. The first one is from Leslie. She says, I've had 2 strokes, but the doctors can't find where the injuries are in my brain. How do I know which side to use for the music therapy? Leslie, I would say, you know, a CT scan or an MRI would be able to tell in terms of the location of the neurologic injury. But, you know, you don't have to use either or. You can use both, you know, just listen to music both. And you can also try, you know, do an assessment of your own, Leslie, and, you know, try listening to the ears or in both ears, the music bilaterally. And then you know, to just kind of keep a log to see, you know, mark how you're feeling, your memory, you know, just keep develop your own tracking system. And then, you know, do a trial of listening to music in one side versus the other. And then you track your evidence and do your own individualized evidence-based practice would be my suggestion for that. And just for an assessment period, at least 2 or 3 or 4 days in length for each so that you can have a good representative sample to be able to differentiate see if there's any difference in the results. Is one better than the other?
Yeah, and I'd like to say something on that too, Patty, in the sense that whatever it is that we've shared in this show can definitely apply for an adult, right? 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's empowering, you know, definitely. It's not only for children. There's a lot of brain injuries now, isn't there? Have you there's been an uprise on brain injuries.
Yes, absolutely. Just having worked with adults with brain injuries. So
especially in soldiers, keep them in your prayers, guys. Keep them in your prayers.
Always pray for our service men and women, definitely. April has a question. She says, I believe it's her son, tries to talk, and it's like he's choking. He struggles really badly to get words out. He sucks his breath inwards when he tries to talk. It sounds like, April, it might be some type of stuttering or fluency issue. So you can definitely look into, I don't know his age or anything like that. You can always look into getting an assessment. But as it relates to fluency, as it relates to stuttering, relaxation and breathing are
Mm.
essential. And also trying with words that aren't plosives. And what I mean by plosives are words that explode when out of your mouth, like P, B, M, T,
Mm.
D. Those are plosives, so those are harder to say. So you want to try words where that you are able to words that you are able to say easily, like words that begin with vowels, like you want words that kind of breathe out like that. So working on words that are breather friendly, if I could say. So hat, hot, like those kinds of words to try and get him to breathe and relax. And then just do some research on fluency and stuttering. Just from the way the question is phrased, it kind of puts my mind in that category. So you can always private message me. And again, look in, we can explore that further if you like. Um, Angelina asks, any tips on balancing your homeschool when you have two children who are developmentally on target and one that is significantly behind and requires a lot of help? Yes. So um, looking at it at homeschool from a skills standpoint for each, like you have goals and targets for each child. So there's definitely some together time and, not knowing your children, but you definitely want to be able to engage all. So you don't have all your attention on the child who's needing the more intensive. You don't want to neglect the other two. So during your together time, you may have the child who requires more needs, like sitting with you, and having everybody engaged at the same time, where you're able to have more hands-on, whatever that is. So just being real intentional about setting up the environment and where everybody is positioned and things like that. Another thing just to keep in mind is to be sure to give a lot of positive reinforcement and encouragement to all your kids, but the ones who are on target, you just want to make sure you're giving them lots of
Yes.
positive reinforcement, and engaging them, having them take some responsibility, but you don't want them always having too much responsibility. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
but engaging them, and asking for their help. I really need your help. I love the way that you have a strength in this area, whatever that area is, whether it's reading out loud or your kids, whatever their strengths are, engaging them to participate in their area of strength, and encouraging them and really building them up, and also looking for the area of strength in the child that is requiring more help, finding where their strengths are and highlighting that,
Mm.
really highlighting that area of strength, because they're looking at, or they may be looking at their siblings going, okay, they can do that and I can't, and build this insecurity. So really focusing on the area of strength. So whatever area of strength that child has, you want to highlight that and have them participate in the group with their area of strength. So really it's focusing on all of their area of strength, but using those who are more on target as a support, so to help build their responsibility, to help build up all individuals involved. I hope that made sense.
It sounded amazing to me. It actually helps me because you could also apply that to when you have different age groups.
Exactly.
And you have a 6-year-old that needs more of your time and more of your attention, and it's part of the whole together school. I mean, that was wonderful. Thank you, Patty.
And also, like when you do have together time and you have to give instruction to the children who are on target, they still need some instruction. You can provide some activity for the child who's younger or may need more assistance that's related, whether it's a coloring page or, finger paint or whatever, building blocks or whatever, while you're providing more one-on-one with the older child or whatever, until you're able to give them, some work that they can do either independently or whatever the case may be. And so it's like, it's strategically dividing your attention. So, and then Christine asks, what do you think about using electronic games at times to learn how to read, such as Game Boys and other computer math English games? I'm hesitant sometimes because I know I did use them with my son, which was effective, but they can also be addicting. My personal opinion is, I see electronics like many things. On the one hand, they can be a hammer. They can be used to build something, or can be very destructive. And it's application. There is a time and a place. In my opinion, there is a time and a place. We are a computerized world right now, so I think it is important to teach our children how to navigate through electronics so that they are able to function in the world that we do live in. Technology is a big part of our world, although a balance, definitely having the balance, and there is a time and a place. And so structuring that in strategically and with limits. So what are your thoughts, Vicki, on that?
My thoughts are very similar. We don't have an encyclopedia, so we use the internet a lot, which you have to be careful,
Right.
with that. But yes, we use it a lot for research. My 10-year-old is using it more and more. I am very hesitant. I used to do a lot of the abc.com, that little game but I've learned and I've realized that they get addicted, and then they get so upset when they're not able to use the computer. So it's very, I would say, limited for us. My 16-year-old, again, he's doing PowerPoint presentations, and he's learning how to type out papers and things like that. So I really believe too, Patty, that it's very age dependent, appropriate. I would be very hesitant to allow my youngest ones to just be on the computer. And because let me tell you, there's a lot of homeschool families that do strictly online. Each child has a computer and they do their curriculum online, and that's fine. I can't judge anyone, but that for me would be not anything we would do. Does that make sense? It's just,
Yes, absolutely. It's limiting, and everybody has to make their own decisions
yes.
on that. Especially when they're younger, though, you want them hands-on in the world. For
Well,
me,
and I've read, and I'm not an expert. You're probably more of an expert than me in that way. But I would be very hesitant because I've read a lot that it affects their frontal lobe, that there's a lot of effect on the neurology of the brain, and so and of course the younger they are, the more that affects them. And so I'm very, very leery, actually.
right? Yeah, and it does affect connectivity. So, well, that was our last question, and we are about out of time. Would you we definitely want to end in prayer. Would you like to lead us in a prayer just for our community?
Sure, absolutely. Father Abba, you are just so awesome. We first come to you and we just thank you, Father, for our Messiah, Father, that came and just showed us how to walk this out, Father. And it's just an amazing, amazing blessing and an understanding of who he is. And we just thank you for Yeshua, Father. I want to say thank you for Now You See TV and everything that Now You See TV provides. Father, continue to bless Now You See TV. they are a hedge of protection for us. It's a platform that allows us to reach so many people, Father, just little old us from Kentucky. Thank you so much. I'm just so blessed. Continue to bless the Pounders and the Halls and all of our moderators and everyone that is involved with Now You See TV. And of course, Father, above everything else, our listeners. Thank you for the support that they offer us, the encouragement they give us, Father. They really make this all worthwhile. Father, for this subject, we know that there are many people out there watching and listening that have many special needs. Father, all of us have needs. Thank you for the understanding that you give us a hedge of protection. And Father, as we enter into this Exodus, where we are just learning your ways all together on this beautiful journey, Father, help us to change our minds and to transform our minds, and help us to be an encouragement to our children. Father, as mom and dads, this is such a beautiful journey that we're on together. And, I'm just so grateful for everything that you provide. Father, everyone in the chat and everyone that is listening, if there's any special needs, Father, you know them. Father, I just ask a special blessing for all of those people out there that have needs. Father, you know them all, and help us to just stay focused on you and focused on your ways and your joy and your love and everything that you offer us. Help us to stay in a place of gratitude. Because if we stay in a place of gratitude, Father, nobody can take that away from us. We're just so thankful. And I want to also say a special prayer for the Elliott family and homeschoolingtorah.com, Father, for helping us with getting us this information to us. And I just also ask for a special blessing and a special blessing of healing for Ann, Father. All these things I pray in the mighty and mighty name of Yeshua. Amen.
Amen. And we just thank everyone for joining us. And we hope that, again, you will hit the like and subscribe button. And until our next show, we say shalom.
Shalom, guys. Thank you.